Let me ask you about AJ, of course. As you said, it was one of the biggest shocks in Sky Sports boxing history when he lost to Andy Ruiz Jr. When we spoke to Frank Warren about a week ago, he said, we're going to see how Matchroom and Sky react now, because he feels that you put all your eggs in one basket with AJ. You kind of built a business model around him, and if he doesn't come back in a strong way, you guys could be in trouble. Do you agree with any part of that?
I don't think we're in trouble. I think that Sky Sports is in a very healthy and hearty place, as is Sky. I mean, Comcast just bought Sky at the back end of last year, and with the biggest media company in the world now under that banner. So, along with our friends at NBC and Universal now, Sky Sports is in a terrific place. Just looking at the summer that we've got ahead of us, with the middle of the Cricket World Cup, the incredible golf majors that are flying out, exclusivity on the Formula One. Sky Racing at Ascot this week. We've got a
You haven't even mentioned football.
Summer of women's sport with the netball's fantastic, the women's Ashes, the men's Ashes. A load of boxing. The football, obviously, the Premier League's going to kick back in and at the beginning of August. So I think we're fine over in Australia. We're just fine. But I understand what he's saying. Anthony Joshua was our leading light, no question about it. And a lot of the business was leaning towards Joshua in many ways. He's an ambassador for us. He's a wonderful role model. He's an icon, and he took his defeat, the shock defeat, in the way that I always thought he would do when he eventually lost. I didn't think it would happen in the Garden on that night, but I thought he would lose at some point. And we love the story about a comeback and revenge, redemption. All of that is great narrative. But and it's all about how he comes back, and whether he's got the strength of character and he can rebuild and utilise those physical attributes. He's got a wonderful trainer in Robert McCracken. He's got a great team. One defeat, as you and I know, does not define a career. He's done so many great things until that point. I understand what Frank's saying, and Matchroom and I were disappointed, obviously. Look, when I pick up the mic, it's neutral. It was Andy Ruiz's night. It was a phenomenal night for him, for his family.
You've had a lot of praise for the commentary on the fight as well.
Listen, ultimately, whatever. I pick up the mic and I call a fight as I see it, and I always have done. And people can say that we're biased at Sky. No, the business obviously wants Anthony Joshua to succeed and be successful, because he's not just a role model, but he's an ambassador for us. But we got a job, I'm on a duty, and Sky are fiercely independent, and Matthew Macklin, Paulie Malignaggi and I, we felt Delphine Persoon beat Katie Taylor. Does that mean that we're not massive Katie Taylor supporters? And I think Katie Taylor, I adore Katie. She's fantastic and a great ambassador for the sport, and she's done wonderful things, and I'm delighted in a way that she's the undisputed lightweight champion. But did I think Delphine Persoon deserved to win that fight? Yes. Was it close? Yes, it was close, and there should be a rematch. But sometimes you need a bit of Katie's fought so hard for so many years and had so much wonderful success that maybe it was a little bit of the luck of the Irish. But there were people that thought Katie won. Most of us at ringside felt Delphine Persoon won that fight, and that was that. It was close, but we call it as we see it. And Paulie, Matt and I, Matt I think had it maybe one round, and Paulie had it a bit wider. I certainly thought, Persoon was justifiably, there was reason for her to walk out the ring and be in tears. But it was a close fight. Actually, it was one of the great fights in women's boxing history. So I think that's what it should be remembered for. I just want the rematch to happen. But we're talking about independence, 100%. I thought she won that fight, and Andy Ruiz deserved everything that came to him on that night. He sort of fooled everybody with his nice boy attitude, and he was almost like a fan, wasn't he, collecting the golden ticket all week. And then when it came to it, he fought. And Joshua was under par for whatever reason, complacency, overlooking, thinking about Wilder. Who knows? Maybe just beaten by the better guy on the night. Whatever it was, he took it like a man, as he should do. And the conspiracy theories, I really am not interested in that. He lost the fight. He got beaten. He got beaten badly on that night. He's done brilliant things before that. But Andy Ruiz was terrific. And, I'm really pleased for him. It's a great story for him. He's from the California-Mexican border. He's changed his life for his family. He's a nice guy. And he deserves his success. And let's see what happens. And, the rematch is going to be fascinating. I think, Frank's got a point now. We've got to see whether the rematch does produce the best in Anthony Joshua, and whether he does get his world title belts back, or whether, as we've seen over the years, Danny, rematches can go the same way. And, sometimes more emphatically. So AJ's got a lot to think about. He's got to go back to the gym, which I'm sure he has done already. He's got to talk to Robert. He's got to work out what they need to do to right the wrong or get it right, or however we see it. But that's heavyweight boxing. And look, Frank's got a point, but we're in a really comfortable position. We've got Dillian White, Sky Sports box office in a few weeks' time. We've got a huge amount of fighters coming through from Matchroom. We've got a great working relationship with Eddie. We've got the DAZN shows coming in. We're in a terrific place. But what I would say, and maybe Frank will be pleased to hear that, was that I really loved watching Tyson Fury on Saturday night as a fan. And Eddie might not like me saying that, but I did. And there's the independence again. Tyson Fury's been a phenomenon over the last 6 months or so. It's been an incredible story how he's dragged himself back from where he has, how he's been so open about mental health, and he's made a whole new load of fans in the process. I thought he beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder's come back with a great performance. There's no question they're the two at the moment. Andy Ruiz may have all the belts, but they're the two that people are talking about. And I thought Fury entertained me with his entrance, and then I thought he was great. Yes, of course, it was a below par opponent. It was an opponent he was meant to deal with, but it was the manner of victory, like with Wilder and Brazil, the manner of victory, and he got it right, Tyson, and the singing afterwards, and he's certainly going to get me watching the next one, no question about that.
Brilliant. Well, Adam Smith, we thank you, and we hope Friday night goes really well.